Good morning. Well, I'm glad to be here. After watching that Laker game last night, I need something good. So, I want to thank you for being here this morning. I think we have a great leadership series set up for you. This year we're going to have 6. So hopefully you can make all of them. We're going to have some great speakers starting with today. Right now I'd like to introduce, you'll see Mr. Tom Phelps, our Larry King for OCBC. And as Lucy has mentioned, he is a partner of Manette Phelps and Phillips, LLP, and he's also the past chairman of OCBC. And he's the person that, why we're here today. He started this series. So thanks, Tom, for that. Now, Tom will be interviewing Jim Mazzo, Senior Vice President at Abbott and President of Abbott Medical Optics, the global leader in advanced refractive technologies for eye care professionals and patients. Previously, Mr. Mazzo was Chairman and CEO of Advanced Medical Optics. While CEO of Advanced Medical Optics, he grew the company's sales from $538 million in 2002 to more than $1 billion in 2008. So we're going to stay really close to you, your OCBC. During this time, he also engineered several strategic acquisitions worth more than $3 billion, establishing the company's leadership position in the cataract and eye care markets and the global #1 position in refractive surgery. Prior to leading AMO, Mr. Mazzo progressed throughout a 22-year career with Allergan, where he held a variety of senior executive level positions. He spent about 12 years working outside the United States as president of Allergan's Europe, Africa, Middle East region, vice president and managing director in Italy, and director of marketing in Canada. So please help me in joining Mr. Mazzo and Tom Phelps.
Hi, Tom. Tom has no voice today.
So the greatest gift I could give to my competitors is a lawyer with no voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Patrick, would you take a bow? Patrick is going to make sure he turns my voice up in case nobody can hear me. Or if it just dries up altogether, which I was telling several people that yesterday I had no voice. So yesterday I was saying, oh my goodness, what am I going to do tomorrow? But then I thought, well, this is Jim Mazzo, no problem. Jim,
Thanks.
On Tuesday, May 6th, 2006, he and I were up here doing the same thing. It was the inaugural program of this Chairman's Leadership Breakfast for the Orange County Business Council. He was our #1. As you know, he was then the CEO of Advanced Medical Optics. I was the chair of the Biz Council then. I had no idea what to expect. But it's been a fabulous thing. We had 16, maybe, that's an exaggeration. We had 48 people attend that first one. And here we are, 6 years and 23 breakfasts later. And I must tell you, we've had the greatest speakers, and we've had a wonderful audience every time. The power in this room has been fabulous, and we very much appreciate all of you being here. The only thing I remember about what we talked about, Jim, was that you gave me grief over the fact that I had 3 pairs of glasses here.
Yes, that's very good.
I want you to know, I still do. Some things never change.
That's extremely bad for business. And we have an ophthalmic surgeon right outside the door. And today only, 10% off your linear surgery, if you'd like, right up there.
So,
take your glasses off for everybody. Just look how much younger he looks. Right?
I'm sure Jim won't have the presence of mind to introduce his beautiful wife, Kelly. Kelly, would you say?
That's my beautiful wife, Kelly.
Well, now that I keep talking, I can't see either because you made baseball team. Some would say 2 great baseball
No, just one.
teams. Just one. And it's called the
Cubs. Cubs.
Now let me ask you something.
Sure.
You have lived now quite a while in Orange County.
Yes, I have.
What do you wear when you go to Angel Stadium?
I didn't know we were going to get that personal. On Thursdays? No. I wear Angel gear, right, honey? I wear Angel gear. Except if the Cubs are playing, or if I go to a Ducks game, we have tickets to the Ducks. I wear my Blackhawks shirt underneath my Ducks. Chicago, right? You got to root for the Cubs. 1 year we're going to win, by the way. I promise you, 1 year we're going to win. Let's hear it for the Cubs. See, there's a lot of Chicago people. How many people are from Chicago? Look at that. That's outstanding. Yeah, that's
Put that on.
Oh, no. Kelly, what do I look like with a hat on? It's not a good look. And by the way, I apologize everybody on this side of the room because if the Italian nose is blocking Mr. Phelps, you'll be able to see him over here. He's right here. Trust me, he's right here. So if I'm blocking you, I apologize.
Speaking of Italian noses, we have, I believe, 117 people here compared with the 48 that we had the first time. And they can't all be Italians from Chicago. So we've really done, you've done
Some
very well.
Italians talked to them about showing up today.
So as long as we're talking about Chicago, let's talk about your hometown. Let's talk about where you lived. And how far do you have to walk to get to Wrigley Field?
Well, actually, Chicago is an interesting perspective because it tells a lot about people from the Midwest. We were talking about that myself. I only lived there 7 years. My mom and dad moved to San Francisco along with my sister, but I've kept all my loyalties to Chicago. And it speaks a lot about what I believe in is that you remember where you started. My mom and dad raised me extremely well and very disciplined. We moved to San Francisco. I went to a Catholic all-boys high school. I went to University of San Diego, so a Catholic faith means a lot to me as well. And so I keep my loyalties to Chicago. Now, very interesting enough, we sold our company. And I appreciate very much that you said you used my name. But there are a couple of my team members that I would like to, first off, before I forget, and thank, because there are 3 very important people here at AMO. If Al and Jane and Jim Rollins would all stand up. They were with us. Jim was my presiding director, Jane is my head of business development, and Al runs manufacturing. When you applauded me on the recognition, they deserve all the recognition. Thank you. So the Chicago was a very important point. We sold the company to Abbott, so I go back to Chicago once a month.
What a coincidence.
It's not,
You
yeah.
sold it to Abbott, and it could still be AMO. How did that happen?
So that's a very, if I could tell you a quick 30-second story, because I see Maynard Karkoff, another good friend of mine from the past. AMO started under American Hospital Supply. Who can remember American Hospital Supply, right? Great company here. In fact, one of the true pioneers. And it was called American Medical Optics. In fact, Bill Link, the guru in our industry, started it. Then I was with Allergan and we bought it. And we called it Allergan Medical Optics. And so then when we spun, it was very easy for me because I think at the end of the day, when you do anything in business, you need to think of the most important person in business, and that's your customer. And the customer always called it AMO. And so we called it Advanced Medical Optics. And then we had no interest in selling, but Miles White, the chairman and CEO of Abbott, called. And I said, well, the good news is I'll meet with you because your company has an A. I was pretty cocky about that, you know. And in fact, very interesting enough, our very first meeting was right here at the Center Club where we had the discussion. So it's been a great history to have AMO, and because at the end of the day, that's who the customer calls, and our customer, the ophthalmologist and optometrist, knows AMO. Doesn't give a hoot about anything else but the name AMO is critical. So it's been a nice heritage of keeping it, the A.
Okay, let's come back to Chicago and San Francisco.
Okay.
Eventually you got to Long Beach.
Yes, I
for
did.
college.
Long Beach State. We have a couple people from Long Beach State right here. Yep, 49er.
Now,
We're not the 49ers anymore, though.
the what?
Well, our baseball team is called Dirtbags.
Oh, the Dirtbags.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys
I thought that's what you were calling me, actually.
if you guys make the NCAA tournament, you're not going to be the Dirtbags, are you?
49ers are basketball, baseball, Dirtbags.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good.
Not if, when we make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, okay. Zoology.
Yeah, I'm a
Zoology.
zoology major and a chemistry background, yep. That made me a perfect CEO. Perfect. Study of animals. Working with
Okay,
animals.
he's not calling you guys.
Don't take it personally, Al.
Okay, so what was your first job out of college?
Actually, my first job was at Allergan. Quick story on that.
Well, you're having trouble keeping a job, right?
Yeah, I just stayed with the A's. I wanted to become a physician. I wanted to become a physician, and I just was tired of school, played a little ball, and so I decided I'd work for a year and hate it so much that it would give me the impetus to go to medical school. And I had the opportunity to meet my lovely wife while I was at Long Beach State, so we talked about it. So I sent out my resume to all these pharmaceutical companies, because when I went to Long Beach State, and why I'm very involved in education at UCI and Chapman and Long Beach State, is my advisor was really very instrumental to me, and that's why I believe we are not putting enough money in education here. I'll give you my 30-second commercial at the end, but we have to put money into education. This individual told me, he says, you seem to have a bit of an outgoing personality, you might want to try something that looks good on the resume, and that's a pharmaceutical company. And I said, I had two questions to him. Is it legal? And what the hell is a pharmaceutical company? And it's that with an F. I had no idea, so I had no clue. It sounded good though. My wife just said, get a job. And so I sent my resume out and thought that he would just knock over my doors of wanting me because I have a zoology degree. And Kelly, you remember this? I got a lot of insurance people called me and wanted me to come, but I had one company called Allergan in 1980. And Allergan was $100 million. How big was it, Maynard, when you joined? Smaller. So, it was Gavin Herbert. And so who knows Gavin Herbert in this business? I'll tell you, if you don't know Gavin Herbert, you need to know Gavin Herbert, because we would not, a lot of us would not be here if it wasn't for the likes of a Gavin Herbert, who is my real mentor. At the end of the day, I speak to Gavin, and he has been a great influence. And he started Allergan, and he put a lot of people in this industry across the globe. And he hired me, but said to me something very important that I've kept as a fundamental perspective is, he said, if you want to grow with this company, you need to start with the most important person in our company, and that's the customer. So I actually carried a sales bag for, obviously I never went to medical school, if you haven't figured that out yet, by the way. I stayed with Allergan and carried a bag for a couple of years, and then stayed out of the way and progressed upward.
Okay, talk about that.
So I carried a bag, I called on our customer, which was a great experience. Then I came inside and I started working with a very good friend of yours, Jim Trunick, and we went in the sales training department then. Went out to become what was called a district manager at that time, and that's still to my day the hardest job I've ever had. Middle management is a very difficult job, because you have these young people reporting to you. They don't quite know what they want, yet you have really 1,000 bosses above you. And so it was a great learning, because they would always call you on Friday and say, I'm resigning, which would just ruin your weekend, right? And I lived in Cincinnati, where I had my wife and I moved, and Kelly and I moved, and we had the luxury of having our first child there. Nikki was born in Cincinnati, so we lived in Cincinnati, then we came back. Anybody from Cincinnati? Hey, anybody visited Cincinnati? I'm telling you, one of the best kept secrets in the United States. Not as good as Orange County, Lucy, I'm sorry. But really a great city. So then came back, and then I ran the pharmaceutical. You want me to keep going?
The average Catholics are pretty big.
The average, there's a lot of good Catholics in there. Do you want me to keep going, by the way, or am I?
No,
Tell me when you want me to stop.
Right.
Okay.
I can't talk.
That's right. He keeps looking at his watch.
Go, man, go.
So we went to Cincinnati, and then came back, ran the pharmaceutical company. I had another very important person, Rick Haugen, who said to me, and this is something I try to speak to when I get to speak to the people, the young men and women in our education program. He brought me into his office. He was our president at the time, and he said, you know, if you really want to grow, you got to get out of the United States. I didn't take it personally by any means, but I understood his message as he said, you know, this is going to be a global environment, and people that are going to lead our businesses need to have a global perspective. And to say you visited Europe or you visited is not good enough. You've got to live there. So I went home, and again, I love my wife so much. No problems, we're gone. We moved to Canada. We had a son at that time who was born in Mission Viejo. And we then moved to Canada, lived in Toronto for a couple of years. Great city. Anybody from Toronto? Great city. Where are you from in Toronto?
Thornhill.
Where?
Thornhill.
Thornhill. We lived in Aurora.
Very nice.
Leaf fan?
Absolutely.
Nice and good. And so then we moved to, then we got the call and I moved to Italy, where I was the Ministro Delegato, which means the general manager of Italy. So obviously for me and for my parents, that was a very emotional time. And for my poor wife, it was a very difficult time because we decided to live outside of Rome. And she would have to drive into Rome almost on a daily basis. Anybody been to Rome? Have you seen any car that doesn't have 1,000 dents? And I'll tell you, I'm going to 20-second story about my lovely wife, Kelly. When we got there, she would let people just keep cutting in front of her because she was too nice. By the time she left, she was doing this all the time with the people as they were coming by. So you acclimate, and that's the story. So we went to Rome, and then we moved to England, and we lived there for about 8 years, on and off for about 8 years, and then we created AMO, and I'll stop there.
You did find a few Italian Catholics.
I found a couple of Italian Catholics, and it was a great experience for me.
By the way, this guy, Rick Santuan,
Yes.
sounds very Italian Catholic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a chance to meet Rick.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, we all split it up, didn't they? They all kind of took a, I'm not going up here, I'm political there. Although this is Orange County, so I'm pretty safe. But yeah, so it kind of got split up there yesterday, but that's a whole different story.
But you said, well, here you wanted to talk about politics.
No.
Okay, let's have a word or two about what you manufacture.
Okay.
And then let's go right into the device industry in Orange County.
Okay. So when we, and I'll get to that, I was with Allergan, we had a pharmaceutical business, Botox, ophthalmic pharmaceuticals, world's leader in that, and we had a medical device business, which made intraocular lenses at that time, pretty much that, and contact lens care products. And when we met David Pyatt, who I know has been one of your guests, another tremendous individual.
Yeah, we had a bigger audience for you.
Well, yeah. He paid him. No, that's not true. He's Scottish. There's no way he paid anybody. You can tell him I said that, and he'd admit it. The point about it is that we decided we had two fundamentally different businesses. How many challenges do you have sometimes where you realize you have some fundamental businesses that sound good, but when you think about them, they're run differently. They're run differently from the government because we have a different regulatory. They're run differently from the type of customers. And so we literally created a separately publicly traded company called AMO. That's when Alan and Jane joined us, and Jim became a very important board member for us. And we created AMO in 2002. And what we focus on, and over the years through acquisitions and organic development, we are the world's leader in LASIK surgery. Anybody had LASIK surgery here? Okay, not enough. Not enough. Not enough. Not more than not enough. It's getting towards the end of the quarter too, so if you can do a little more. Cataract surgery? Any cataract surgery in here? Okay, far too young. Far too young. And then, so we're world's leader in cataract surgery and contact lens care. So we're a specialty device company, world's leader. We're present in over 60 countries worldwide. Al, how many manufacturing facilities? 7?
8 on our way to 6. We're consolidating.
Okay, we're taking some, all outside the United States, not in Orange County, don't worry about that, Lucy. And so we're present across the globe, and overall number 2, but number 1 in many of our segments that we
Now that was the most articulate description I've ever heard as to why a man got fired from his job.
Yeah, exactly.
You were very good.
Thank you very much.
So-
I didn't
so-
get fired, we
You
kept
moved
a separate
out.
company. We created a separate company.
That's not what Pye said.
Well,
Pye had a different
Pye
story.
kicked me out, yeah. And
Okay.
so it was fun. We created a publicly traded company, and as you heard, we had some fun.
And you had great financial results.
Yes, we did.
Okay, let's talk about Orange County and the devices industry. Some people say this is the center of the device business. Why?
Well, it actually is, and I was speaking to a young lady, where is she, from DC, she just moved here. And we were talking about devices here in Orange County. I think it can go back to, first off, American Hospital Supply and Allergan. You know, think about that. These were companies that spurred other companies, and we have, Maynard has a good friend of ours, Tom Bender, Cooper Company is here, and it is the largest concentration of medical device companies in the United States is right here in our backyard. You have a great one led by one of our best friends, Mike Masalam, Edwards Life Sciences, great company, another guest of yours. Mike's a great guy. Beckman Coulter, I was on the board, was purchased by Danaher right down here. And then you have a great venture group led by people like Bill Link of Versant Ventures. And the concentration of medical device, and it leads to a very important point. It's because of our great academic institutions, because we hire engineers. And that's who medical device hires. And we have great programs at UCI and Long Beach State and at Chapman. So if you think about it, it's a life cycle. We can only exist in our industry if we innovate about every 24 to 36 months. That's the difference between devices and pharma. Pharma has a much more longer lifelong. We have to constantly innovate. And the only way we can innovate is by hiring the best and brightest, especially in R&D, and those are engineers, electrical engineers, optical engineers, biomedical engineers, and so we have great schools. So it's kind of a nice cycle here, and it just cultivates from there. And the weather's not bad either, by the way. And we have Lucy.
So